Continue previous story. Day moved her one hand and activated her technique. The hundreds of icicles towering on the ground had killed the silver lion in an instant. Day came down from the tree with an exceptional aura. The demons couldn't believe their eyes. Day had killed Silver Lion just by an attack. Day approached the battle arena and stood still beneath the bright moonlight with grace and beauty. She asked all the demons there whether there was any objection. Hearing the question made everyone terrified. A wolf demon immediately kneeling and said, "How dare the Silver Moon Demon Lord wish for the presence of someone like Day? Then he deserved to die," followed by all the demons kneeling before Day. But there was one demon who didn't kneel. A giant bear mentally hit by Day's stare. Day asked whether the giant bear disagreed. Giant bear fearfully said that Day misunderstood. His leg was tingling. That was the reason he couldn't kneel down. Day then helped Giant Bear's leg back to the way it was before so he could kneel. With tears of joy, Giant Bear thanked Day. Day once again said to all the demons there, her sister, the seven-tailed, would be the demon king. Did anyone disagree? Time had passed and the morning had come. Suddenly, Nephin woke up startled, asking Day to take out the rice stew. But he immediately realized it was just a dream. It was a sunny morning, the birds chirping all around. Nephin didn't miss his morning routine, stretching his body. Suddenly, Day came from outside. Daddy was a bit surprised when Nephin scolded her for missing her morning exercise. Day should keep exercising, never be lazy. With fear, Day apologized for her mistake. They immediately exercised together. Nephin asked Day where had Day been. Day said that she looked for light since the stone lantern in the courtyard had turned off. Nephin stopped his exercise and looked enthusiastic. He asked Day whether she got the lights. Day took something out of her hand. It turned out to be fireflies. The fireflies went straight into the lamp housing in the courtyard. Nephin, really amazed by the fireflies, he thought it was really wonderful. Day said if Nephin went to the courtyard at night, he wouldn't need to bring the lantern anymore since there were fireflies. With a genuine smile, Nephin thanked. He really loved it. Day also shyly said that she was happy if Nephin was happy. As he walked away, Nephin said, "Didn't fireflies a short lifetime, so they should look for it again later?" Day told Nephin no to worry, because that fireflies has a long lifetime. Meanwhile, inside the lantern, two fireflies were shocked seeing Day, who was the nine-tailed fox demon. Moving on to a barren, hot desert, Nanan and the Golden Lotus sect master were walking together. The sect master asked for Nanan's apologize for troubling her, since the Golden Lotus sect was located in the wild area. She still apologized for making Nanan suffer. Yet Nanan still seemed in a good condition. She told the sect master not to worry. Not long after, they had arrived in the sect building, a dilapidated building in tatters. It was Golden Lotus sect's building. Nanan immediately was guided into her room. The sect master showed Nanan that it would be her room. Nanan understood. She tried to touch the decayed walls of the building, but instead of being sad, she was happy. Moving on to the sect master who entered a room, it turned out to her sister's room. She greeted her and said that she had come back. Someone who looked like the Golden Lotus sect master was seen lying on her bed. The woman turned to be the real Golden Lotus sect master. She was Ham Yan. The sect master who brought Nanan over was Han Yu. They both really looked alike, or almost looked like a twin. Han Yu helped Han Yan to get out from her bed as she seemed to be tired. Han Yan said that she almost ran out of time and Golden Lotus sect would rely on Han Yu. She was poisoned when she took out the honey. Golden Lotus sect was too small, none would send them offer. It was the reality. Han Yu said that she came up with an unrivaled disciple this time. Han Yan was surprised to hear that. She wondered if the disciple was someone who had an intermediate level spiritual root. Han Yu shook her head and said no. Again, Ham Yan asked whether it was high-level spiritual root. Ham Yan had been so enthusiastic with the answer, but Ham Yu broke her sister's enthusiasm by saying that it was just someone who had a low-level spiritual root. Han Yan was nearly dead upon hearing that. Wiping the blood that come out of her mouth from surprise, Ham Yan said how Ham Yu made a joke when she was dying. How could she entrust the Golden Lotus sect to Han Yu? Han Yu explained, even though the disciple she brought was just someone who had a low-level spiritual root, but she would be blessing for Golden Lotus sect. Han Yu pulled out all the high-level medicinal materials given by King Luo. Seeing that made Ham Yan surprised. Han Yu said Han Yan's illness could be cured using all those medicinal materials. Han Yan asked if all this was thanks to the disciple Han Yu brought in. Han Yu confirmed. Nanan had a relative who was a god, and King Lu gave lots of treasure to make the god impressed. Han Yan was regained her sense. She said it was a blessing for Golden Lotus sect. She excitedly asked Han Yu to take a good care of the disciple. Han Yu told Han Yan not to worry. She would do her best. Han Yan was curious about the god Han Yu was talking earlier. What kind of a spiritual root the expert had, or the one they called God, that made King Lu wanted to impress him. Han Yu hadn't answered yet. Someone knocked the door. It was Nanan. Han Yu introduced Han Yan to Nanan. Nanan could call her as Master Elder. Nanan was surprised and confused seeing Han Yan. She bowed and paid respect. Han Yu asked what brought Nanan here. Nanan innocently said that she wanted Han Yu to look at the she made. It was the list of Golden Lotus sects and Nanan's enemies. There were the Leopard demon who had kidnapped her back then, the demon Tao who had kidnapped her on New Year's Eve, Heavenly Sword sect that was the enemy of the Golden Lotus sect, and 2 others. Han Yu didn't understand Nanan's intention for giving out the list. Out loud, Nanan said that the ones on the list were the enemies, then all must be eliminated one by one. Nanan smilingly said that from now on, she would finish off anyone who disturbed Knife and Brother and the Golden Lotus sect and anyone who knew Nanan. Han Yu and Han Yan were shocked to see Nanan like that. They said to themselves that Nanan was very fierce. So what kind of the low-level spiritual root Nanan had? Moving on Naifan's house. Shou Bai was seen open the door to welcome the guests. It was King Lu and Shai Yu. King Lu excitedly and happily said that he came to deliver the letter Nanan sent for Naifan. Naifan at the backyard was brushing his teeth, told them to wait. Naifan spat the water from his mouth to a flower in front of him. Naifan laughed in response. How could a king run errands like a postman? King Lu said he didn't dare delay the important letter from Nanan to Naifan, so that he came personally to deliver it. Suddenly, King Lu and Shai Yu were silent as they watched a flower next to Naifan in wonder, which apparently the plant moved on its own. As for the plant itself, it was like receiving the blessings of heaven, because Naifan's saliva was the water of heaven for Master Naifan. Who knows what Shai Yu and her dad were thinking, leaving them speechless. Deep down, they were envious of the plants that received heavenly water from Naifan. Breaking the ice, Naifan said that he didn't believe they'd both come personally to deliver the letter for him. As a token of gratitude, Naifan invited them both to have some food together, because he wanted to show them his precious treasure by chance. Naifan read the letter together with King Lu and Shai Yu. The contents of the letter only wrote that Nanan was treated very well, and she even began to cultivate. Looking at all the contents of her letter, Naifan asked, was that how the sect treated its disciples? King Lu responded, since Naifan asked King Lu to take care of Nanan, he gave the sect master the proper direction. Naifan respectfully fascinated, saying if it was as expected of a king. King Lu and Shai Yu even had the same thought. It was as expected of Master Naifan. Seeing the crystal ball from Lingyun Immortal Pavilion, Shai Yu and King Lu were shocked, because they saw 1,000-year Xuan ice from Lin Immortal Pavilion. Once at the destination, Naifan said to King Lu and Shai Yu to look at the treasure he was talking about. They were curious whether it was a greater thing than the things he just saw. Naifan showed the double-door fridge to King Lu and Shai Yu. Naifan told them both that he just mentioned it to Master Mufeng, but it turned out that he really brought it to Naifan. Seeing the fridge, Shai Yu and King Lu thought that it was ordinary. But when Naifan opened the fridge's upper door, the cold air blew past the 2 of them that froze them instantly. They just realized there was ice crystals. Naifan handed them ice cream. They didn't react and just look at it in surprise. Naifan explained that it was ice cream. In Naifan's hometown, it was called popsicles. Shai Yu was completely stunned over the popsicle Naifan gave her. She never had a taste before, but the dazzling glitter of the popsicle really made her want to try it. It must be the immortal's food. As Shai Yu was about to eat it, King Lu stopped her. He speculated that it was frozen by the crystal ice, and the crystal ice was a deadly thing that could freeze the time in one's life. With a serious face, King Lu said that Shai Yu's life would be threatened if she was reckless. Hearing that left Shai Yu in shock and speechless. Meanwhile, Naifan began to eat it. The chill that made his teeth ache and his face scrunch up held it back. Nifan then, cheerfully smiling, said to King Lu and Shai Yu, the popsicle flavor tasted just like summer. Nifan asked them, didn't they want to try it? Because of such great temptation, King Lu took the risk. He used his whole power just in case something happened to him. He confidently said to himself that he had to give it a try. King Lu then licked the popsicle that suddenly froze his body. Looking at his dad, who had frozen, made her worry. Within King Lu's subconscious, he was on a snowy mountain, but he didn't feel cold. He felt warm just like at a spring day instead. Suddenly, King Lu's body emitted light and shattered the ice that froze him. King Lu was back to his conscious and said it was as expected of immortals' food. It took just a lick and he already reached the peak. Shai Yu didn't understand what her dad was talking about. Once again, King Lu warned Shai Yu not to be careless. Even though the food was tasty, if she didn't cautious, then Shai Yu could turn into ice snow. Hearing the warning from her dad, Shai Yu became a little worried, which eventually led to the two of them only licking the popsicle at the tip. Nifan teased them both for only eating ice cream that way. If it took too long, the popsicle would melt. Nifan proceeded and showed them how to eat it. They should eat the popsicle the way he ate. Nifan bit off half of the popsicle and ate it without any effect. Meanwhile, King Lu and Shai Yu were flabbergasted upon the sight. With a smile, Nifan said if they ate it the way Nifan did, then they would sense the real freshness. They both got hit mentally whether they had to do it. If so, they both would really die soon. Nifan pushed on them to eat the popsicle in Nifan's way. It would cause an incredible sensation. King Lu and Shai Yu timidly but courageously, they assured themselves to eat it. King Lu and Shai Yu used their full power to withstand the side effects that might cause. King Lu told Shai Yu not to be afraid and to muster the strength to endure it. Just to eat a popsicle, they had to give it their all. As they bit the popsicle, suddenly a huge burst of energy came out from inside their bodies that could be seen from a distance. Under their subconscious, they had a chat about what would happen to them in their subconsciousness about some things. They had to thank Master Nifan for letting them be able to die many times, which meant that it could improve their cultivation. After returning to the mundane consciousness, King Lu and Shai Yu really looked like a dead body. Because of having the popsicle, King Lu said that they suddenly felt unwell, so they bid farewell to head back. Nifan was confused for what had happened to them, whether cold food gave them a stomachache. Suddenly, King Lu shouted as he couldn't resist it anymore. His stomach was in knots and he couldn't hold it in, so he asked to use the toilet. After a while, King Lu had finished his needs. He was amazed of Nifan's toilet, very sophisticated. Nifan asked King Lu whether he felt better. King Lu replied that he would digest it slowly in his palace. But what King Lu meant was Taoist wisdom or knowledge. Yet what Nifan was getting at was the popsicle King Lu would digest once he went back. Not long after, Shai Yu came out of the restroom next door. Then they said goodbye to head back to the palace. As King Lu was about to leave, Nifan tried to stop them. He had something and he needed King Lu's help. Moving on Lin Immortal Palace, Qin was seen sitting down surrounded by some elders. One of the elders asked whether Qin had any idea of the dangers Master Lin was facing. Qin sadly said that she knew it. Master Lin would now face the terrifying Heart of Tao. The terrifying Heart of Tao was a disaster. In small cases, the suffering person's Taoist heart would be injured, but in big cases, the sufferer would die. Those in the merging stage, although the terrible Heart of Tao was an opportunity to break through, it was also a Taoist voodoo writing. If people succeed in doing so, it would reach the divine examination stage. But if there was a slight failure, it would instantly stop and that person's body would definitely die. The elder explained that for the sake of Master Lin's and Lin Immortal Palace's safety, Master Lin had been suppressing himself for hundreds of years and he didn't want to break through. The elder didn't understand why, but now Master Lin couldn't seem to hold it anymore. A sect that didn't have good relations with Immortal Lin's palace, with demons riding on this kind of opportunity. Immortal Lin's palace needed labor. With a stressful expression, the elder asked Stin to mobilize all of her disciples to guard the mountain. The elder, who was a noble elder, continued that not only were sects and demons watching the Immortal Lin palace, but he had also just received the latest news. Many demons had entered the Qianlong dynasty, and they could go to Immortal Lin's palace at any time. The most important thing right now was to gather all the disciples and increase the defense and send disciples to protect the surrounding mountains and forests. Qin seemed to refuse to send disciples around the forest with a slightly harsh tone, as she didn't want to be disruptive and make a scene. There was a master that couldn't bother and provoke his anger. Yet the noble elder didn't seem to heed Qin's command. Qin was immediately bound using magic because Qin insisted on stopping them. All of a sudden, King Lu visited Lin Immortal Palace. King Lu greeted the elders and said that he just realized that Lin Immortal Palace was vacant, no disciples at all to receive messages from him. Therefore, he decided to come by himself. With a slight uneasiness, King Lu asked if he had come at the wrong time. The noble elder was astonished by King Lu's sudden visit. What did King Lu want to do here? King Lu, who was happy to be the messenger, took out a book from under his shirt. He also said that Master Niffen entrusted him to send something to Qin. Qin was surprised as she heard something sent by Niffen. The noble elder untied the magic that bound her because it would be very embarrassing for others, including King Lu, to see. Qin was definitely happy. She would take the responsibility of Lin Immortal Palace's safety. If they didn't mind, the elders could leave the security area. If they couldn't believe her, then the elders could try. Qin immediately challenged the elders to attack her together. The noble elder and the others were surprised. They doubted Qin's ability. The 5 of them were the ones who practiced the 5 different techniques. Did Qin even understand the meaning of it all? Was Qin sure of that? Qin replied casually if they wanted to know who was the one that lived in this forest, then they could fight with her first. So she would tell them through the songs. It turned out that the book was the songs Niffen had previously promised to Master Lin when they played the zither in Neffen's house. Qin faced the 5 elders in the air to fight them. King Lu and Shai Yu could only watch from below. Shai Yu told her dad that Qin was much weaker than the elders, and now Qin was about to fight against them. She wondered what kind of note Master Niffen gave her actually, so that gave Qin a lot of confidence. King Lu confidently said that the note Master Niffen gave was the note of God. Did Shai Yu remember the words Niffen wrote down for Nanan? Niffen could make immortality happen with his writing, and the note must be an amazing thing. Back to Qin and the elders. The noble elder warned Qin before they started. They requested that it be a training exercise for Qin. Qin didn't want to talk much, but to act immediately. The elders took out their own zithers and began to play it. The sound waves from the zither strings sent out an attack aimed at Qin. Qin calmly opened the book and got prepared to pull out her zither. From a single string pluck of a single note of Neffen's song, a barrier held back the attacks of the 5 elders. The elders stunned seeing that. The other elders asked the noble elder whether they would continue the fight. The noble elder asked him back how could they continue it. They had lost from Qin. The zither strings of the noble elder's zither slowly broke from the shockwave of Qin's zither sound, completely shattering the elder's defenses. Shiggy was also impressed because Qin was really able to beat the 5 elders all alone. They even lost badly. Master Neffen's note was too great. Shai Yu asked her dad's opinion, but King Lu looked so gloomy that he was crying. Shai Yu indeed asked why did her dad cry. King Lu said Nanan had Neffen's writing, Lin Immortal Palace also had it, and Lin Yun Immortal Palace also had a close relationship with Master Niffen. It was only Qianlong Dynasty that had nothing. That was why he was crying. Shai Yu was also sad to his dad's antics. Once again, King Lu emphasized that he should work harder. It seemed that he should sacrifice anything for Master Niffen. Back to Xin, who was still in the air. It turned out that she had broken through cultivation to the Saver stage. The noble elder and the bald elder were surprised to see it. Qin backed down and stepped slowly with a serious face. Shigyu called out Qin, but she got no answer. After a while, Qin finally broke the silence. She said that the song was too difficult. She couldn't play it well. Suddenly, the elders surrounded Qin and treated her very well, unlike earlier. Of course, it was a surprise for Qin. But Qin then realized that the elders started to understand that Master Niffen was an incredible person. The noble elder apologized for doubting Qin's words. Qin told them not to worry. All they had to do was to maintain a normal life for Master Niffen. It was mandatory for Lin Immortal Palace. According to latest news, Master Niffen wanted to have Water Demon of the Lake of Silent Moon as a meal. Hearing that, the 5 elders instantly yelled that it was their task, therefore they would get it. The elders leave Lin Immortal Palace immediately to capture the Water Demon. As you saw everyone leaving, King Lu said that they were merely tools to carry out the task. Moving on to a lake in the forest, it seems some fishermen were about to go fishing. One of them turned out to be a fish seller whom Nifin often visited, named Old Man Yu. He was crying if he couldn't get the fish, they wouldn't be able to hear the Nifin's tale of journey to the west. Old Man Yu didn't care about anything. He would keep going to catch fish. Once he reached the lake, he spread his nets and waited for a while at the waterside. Suddenly, Old Man Yu realized something approached behind his back. He turned around to check. Apparently, it was a rabbit. He was scared at first, then he sighed as it was just a rabbit. All of a sudden, there was a huge abalone monster behind Old Man Yu's back waiting to attack him. Old Man Yu screamed, asking for help when he was hit by abalone monster, but nobody helped him. After a moment, Kin came and beat up abalone monster immediately as the monster tried to get back into the water. But Kin quickly ried on it and ordered the people who was with her to catch it and not to let it go. Kin told Old Man Yu that now he could catch the fish in the lake without the fear of monster anymore. But Old Man Yu ignored Kin's words as he escaped the place from fear. Not long after, the noble elder came and praised Kin's ability. Kin ordered the noble elder to check out abalone monster's people that seemed to be inside the lake. The noble elder understood Kin's command and he would do it immediately. Soon, Kin left bringing the abalone. It made the noble elder curious about where would Kin bring the abalone to. Kin said that she would leave it to Master Nifin. Kin had arrived at Nifin's house after a while. Nifin was really surprised to see a human-sized abalone. Instead of scared, Nifin was really happy, circling around the abalone several times. He said that he couldn't even get an abalone to eat in his past life. Kin just said that she would do whatever Master Nifin wanted. Nifin happily said that he would cook the abalone this afternoon and they could have a meal together. Kin and Xiaoyu was so glad hearing it. But somehow Xiaoyu was there. They both said that it would be rude to refuse it. Apparently Kin was also surprised and squeaked, asking why Xiaoyu followed her. Xiaoyu said that she definitely couldn't miss such rare opportunity. It turned out that Xiaoyu got an order from his dad to befriend Nifin. Perhaps after some times, the good opportunity would come and the immortal dynasty would be blessed. Xiaoyu was getting more excited because his dad entrusted her to carry out the mission. She had to do it well. Kin only looked at Xiaoyu with an annoyed look. Nifin called Xiao Bai to help him. Xiao Bai excitedly approached Nifin and said that this was the time for him to shine. Using the hose, Xiao Bai cleaned the abalone that had been hung. Xiaoyu and Kin were really surprised because Xiao Bai even used the spiritual water to clean the abalone. But they understood it in the end since they had seen the bamboo of enlightenment were used as firewood, so it was no longer surprised to see they used spiritual water to clean the food. Although, Kin was hurt by the sight of it. The very precious water was arbitrarily used. While being sad, there was a splash of water on Kin's cheek that made her a little surprised. She was surprised to learn that the water was spiritual water containing abundant spiritual Kai. She wanted to lick it. As she thought of licking the water stained on her cheek, she was surprised by Nifin's presence, who apologized for his mistake that he made Kin got wet. Nifin was about to give her a fabric to clean it up. As she heard it, Kin was more hurt and sad. Kin tried to hold it until he got emotional in her heart. Kin thought that it was such a waste. She couldn't let it be wasted. She had to lick it. Kin slowly and shamelessly licked the water immediately. With a blushed face, she asked Nifin to just ignore her. She took care of the water. Seeing Kin's antics, Nifin was really shocked. He became rigidly silent. He didn't expect a pretty woman was that dirty. Meanwhile, Xiao Bai was seen kept cleaning the hanging abalone using the spiritual water. And Kin felt really sinful. She was totally embarrassed. She got upset to herself and said that she didn't expect she misbehaved in front of Nifin. Xiaoyu laughed, trying to cheer up Kin. Xiaoyu said that it was understandable since it was the precious spiritual water and Master Nifin didn't mind it. Xiaoyu pointed out to Nifin, who was playing chess with Dai. But again, Kin couldn't hold herself. She cried and yelled that it was so embarrassing. Back to Xiao Bai, who was using his cutting technique to cut the abalone into pieces. Xiaoyu and Kin kept surprised upon the sight. Xiao Bai's knife skills were truly extraordinary. Xiaoyu said inwardly the abalone demon had lived for 1,000 years, had reached the diversion cultivation level, and Xiao Bai cut it off very easily. Who Xiao Bai really was, and whether it was just an ordinary artifact. Xiao Bai began to cook the abalone using herbs, making it abalone herbal soup. Not only did abalone boost immunity, it could also normalize blood pressure, nourish yin, soothe the liver, and strengthen the kidneys. Along with meditation diet, it would calm the mind, soothe yang, quench thirst, and cure bladder irritation. After some processing steps, Shobai finally finished making abalone soup. Xia Yu and Qin was really curious of its taste. Its aroma made them already drooling, so what would it taste like? Xia Yu and Qin immediately ate some, and it suddenly made them feel a great sensation. They had no more words. The high-level artifact was used as a cook. The spiritual water was used as soup. High-level ingredients were used as spices and others that had a high level. Those who tasted it would exactly expect that all desires within the body had been fulfilled. They both shouted that it was extraordinary soup. Knifen chuckled happily. He felt happy that the immortals could enjoy it. Moving on to Xing Yun, who was standing on the roof of a pavilion with a firm face like something had happened. Xing Yun sensed that the demon had arrived and came closer. One of her servants said that the demon had destroyed the Xuan Cloud Pavilion. Xing Yun asked her whether Xing Yun's dad gave a command, and they were preparing for war or was about to evacuate all the disciples. The servant said no. The pavilion master said that all had been handled by Master Knifen. All they had to do was just to wait. A misunderstanding occurred, whereas Knifen was relaxing at home without thinking about anything. Xing Yun muttered it seemed that they really just had to wait, but suddenly someone reported that the Moon Sect had been destroyed by the demon who was heading to Lingyun Immortal Pavilion, back to Knifen's house. Xia Yu and Qin were seen said goodbye to return home, but they both sensed something evil approaching. Qin said that it was a demon. At first, she couldn't sense anything when she was in Master Knifen's neighborhood. But when they went out, an extremely evil demonic aura was suddenly felt. It was a sign of the devil's arrival. Not only in their current place, Qin realized that now the demonic aura had covered the entire Qianlong dynasty. When Qin was panicked, suddenly the noble elder appeared before her. He said that the disciple of Lin Immortal Palace had found something. The demon came to retrieve the fallen demon's sword. In Knifen's courtyard, a dark aura crept closer to the fallen demon's sword, which had previously been used as an axe and abandoned. Moving on to Qin and Xia Yu, who had arrived at Lingyun Immortal Pavilion. Qin said that she heard Lingyun Immortal Palace was on danger, so that she came to help. The elders of Lingyun Immortal Palace were also preparing to fight against the demon. Qin also wondered what was the reason the demon came to Lingyun Immortal Palace. The elders said that the problem did sound very strange. They better went inside the palace, and they would then understand. Qin said that something big happened, but where was Master Mufeng? The elders told them to enter the palace, and they would understand once they saw it. Apparently, Master Mufeng was still very relaxed in the palace, so relaxed that he could even drink tea alone. Master Mufeng welcomed Qin and the others with a carefree smile. Meanwhile, Qin and Xia Yu were really shocked seeing Master Mufeng, who was very calm. Still surprised, they asked whether Master Mufeng didn't know that the demon was heading to Lingyun Immortal Palace. Still very relaxed, Master Mufeng said that he knew it. Master Mufeng then showed a letter from the demon containing a warning that he came to retrieve the fallen demon's sword. Qin got a bit confused. Even the demon had sent a warning letter. Master Mufeng confirmed it. He knew the demon's purpose, so they didn't mean to worry. Qin was still curious about the reason behind Master Mufeng's calmness. Surely she questioned it. Master Mufeng explained few days ago he went visiting Master Knifen's house. He used the fallen demon's sword to chop the firewood, and he gained some of the sword demon's aura within him. That was why the demon thought the fallen demon's sword was in Lingyun Immortal Pavilion, and they came to search for it. At that moment he kept thinking, and he concluded a thing. With a happy face, Master Mufeng said that it was all Master Knifen's plan. Master Mufeng tried to convince them that it was all Master Knifen's intention to kill the demon and use him as a bait. Xia Yu and Qin nodded in understanding. It all made sense. Xia Yu and Qin happy felt that it was the reason why Master Mufeng wasn't worried. All they had to do was just to wait. As the demon appeared, Master Knifen would come to help. Confident in his opinions, Master Mufeng confirmed it. The three of them were completely convinced and laughed that it was all Master Knifen's plan. Based on their nonsensical speculations, they decided to wait and drink tea together. Xia Yu said that Hukain was one of the 4 heavenly demon kings under Moshe. Falling star demon came, they had nothing to worry about. Hearing the demon's name left them speechless, not knowing how to react between fear and certainty. It was explained that if the fallen star demon king came, a river of blood would form. Moshe was the head of the demon kings. 4 heavenly kings worked for him. They were all great demon kings who had cultivation levels above the saber stage, especially the fallen star demon. He was extremely cruel. Although his cultivation was only at the saber stage, wherever he went, rivers of blood would definitely form. Kin interrupted. She understood. Master Niffen wanted to exterminate the powerful members of the demon clan. That was why Master Niffen was extra cautious. Once again, they were even more convinced that Niffen would appear to get rid of the demon. They continued their tea party. Meanwhile, the elders who saw them didn't seem to understand them all. They felt bad about it. King Yun, who still observed on the pavilion roof, felt really uneasy. King Yun sensed that the demon had arrived. She was curious if Master Niffen lived in seclusion and disliked fighting. Would Master Niffen really exterminate the demon king? Suddenly, the fallen star demon had really arrived and immediately beat up several disciples of Ling Yun Immortal Pavilion to death. A winged demon was seen floating in the air. He sensed the smell of the demon's sword from the palace. With an extraordinary force, the fallen star demon immediately destroyed Ling Yun Immortal Palace to the ground. Master Mufeng and the others still chilled with their tea, even though their surroundings were completely destroyed. Suddenly, the fallen star demon appeared from behind Master Mufeng. He slammed straight at Master Mufeng, but it seemed like the attack didn't hit him. The demon was surprised. He didn't feel that he had knocked out the humans, only to find that they had been protected by a barrier. Apparently, Qin used the heavenly zither and played a song given by Niffen. Yu felt fortunate because there were notes from Niffen given to Xin. Hearing the zither's sound made the demon guy even mad and attacked them his bigger force. The fallen star demon's attack broke the barrier instantly and wounded Xin and knocked her down. Master Mufeng now questioned his conclusion a bit, whether it was all Master Niffen's plan. With a sharp gaze of flaming eyes, the fallen star demon asked Master Mufeng to hand him the fallen demon's sword. Master Mufeng was furious and attempted to attack the fallen star demon, but unfortunately the demon's attack was faster and slashed one of Master Mufeng's arms until it was severed. Master Mufeng was extremely shocked from losing one of his arms. King Lu suddenly also came to attack the fallen star demon using Earth Dragon Flame. King Lu apologized to all of them for coming late. King Lu asking about Kai's condition. Yu said that Qin wasn't in a good state and would need intensive care. King Lu said that the demon wasn't weak. They couldn't seem to beat it. The fallen star demon was still standing firmly. He instantly ripped open his own stomach, and out of his stomach came a smaller figure, which was the true form of the fallen star demon. The demon instantly attacked them with murderous intention. The fallen star demon's indiscriminate attacks instantly knocked everyone to the ground. Once again, Master Mufeng questioned his speculation about Master Niffen who would kill the demon. Had Master Niffen made a wrong prediction? Or would they just be sacrifices for Master Niffen? The fallen star demon landed directly beside Master Mufeng, saying he was enough playing. He had to quickly finish his task and return, no matter where Master Mufeng hid the sword. The fallen star demon activated the powerful aura overflowing from within his body to summon the fallen demon's sword to come to him. But after a while, that fallen demon's sword didn't even come at all. Master Mufeng was also curious if the demon's sword was no longer there. Once again, the fallen star demon summoned the sword with even greater power. Moving on to Niffen's house in his warehouse space, the fallen demon's sword was seen twitching and then flying out of the house. Niffen, who was doing his dishes, heard the noise and instantly surprised what had just happened. With his awful face, Niffen wondered who was playing around. Back to ruined Ling Yun Immortal Palace. The fallen star demon was seen found that the sword had arrived. Again, Master Mufeng surprised, how could it happen? The fallen star demon laughed with immense joy. He shouted, calling Moshe that he had found the fallen demon's sword. He would leave immediately. Suddenly, the fallen star demon felt something strange from the fallen demon's sword. A saintly skeleton appeared in front of the fallen star demon all of a sudden, saying Amitabha. A sword slipped out of the fallen star demon's grasp. The skeleton asked whether the benefactor was looking for him. The benefactor in question was the fallen star demon. The fallen star demon was really upset. Why did the skeleton of the fallen demon's sword look like this? With a gentle smile, the skeleton said that he had already been enlightened by the Buddha and he had converted to Buddhism. The fallen star demon was even more in shock, asking what the reason behind converting to Buddhism was, and if Moshe wasn't good enough. The skeleton said some Buddhist words that made the fallen star demon mad and attacked skeleton, but the shield had been activated so that the fallen star demon couldn't break through it. The skeleton used the power of the Buddha, which left the fallen star demon completely shocked. The embodiment of Buddha slapped the fallen star demon. Afterwards, the embodiment of Buddha asked him to repent and convert to Buddhism so that he could become a virtuous demon. Hearing that invitation made the fallen star demon really even more annoyed. And finally, the battle between the two demons of different beliefs fought. Master Mufeng, who had lost his arm, finally felt happy because of his speculation of Master Nefen, who had planned it all, was true. With tears of joy, Master Mufeng thanked the gods. In the last attack, Skeleton instantly obliterated the fallen star demon without a trace. Skeleton told them all that the fallen star demon was gone. They could all be at peace for now. Skeleton immediately healed their injured condition. Then he approached Master Mufeng, who had lost his arm. Master Mufeng greeted the skeleton Buddha as the demon's sword, but he asked not to be called that. Now, he was the Buddha sword, so just call him the Buddha sword. However, Master Mufeng didn't seem to get any help from the skeleton. The Buddha skeleton then said goodbye to them as he still got some job to chop the firewood. Master Mufeng and the others thanked the Buddha sword skeleton before the skeleton finally disappeared from their sight. After the skeleton departure, Shai Yu said that everything was as expected of Master Nefen. He still looked great when chopping the firewood. Master Mufeng endured his pain from losing his arm. Qin approached Master Mufeng and said that everyone there was working for Master Nefen. Master Nefen would definitely help to find a way to heal Master Mufeng's arm. With emotional tears, Master Mufeng asked them not to mind about his arm. For the sake of Master Nefen, sacrificing an arm was nothing. Qing Yun cried at his dad's condition, who had only one arm now. It was not far from their place. A golden bell was seen floating. Of course, they were curious about it. Shai Yu approached and took it. She learned that it was the artifact of the fallen star demon, Heavenly Heart Bell. Perhaps the Buddha skeleton forget about the bell. They must not keep it to themselves. They should hand it to Master Nefen. King Lu gave a suggestion to use it to Master Mufeng since he was severely injured now. Master Mufeng screamed and refused it, but he also wanted to meet Master Nefen. King Yun was worried about her father's arm, but Master Mufeng reassured King Yun not to worry. It was just a small problem. So they rushed to visit Nefen's house. Not long after, Master Mufeng, Shai Yu, and King Yun had arrived at Nefen's house and were greeted by Xiao Bai to be welcomed in. As they entered Nefen's house, it turned out that Nefen was using the fallen demon's sword to chop the firewood. Nefen greeted them and said that he was keeping the firewood. She did notice somebody knocked on his door. Nefen asked their purpose visiting him. But Nefen instantly shocked looking at one of Master Mufeng's arms that had been lost. Nefen surely got panicked and asked what happened to Master Mufeng. Master Mufeng said calmly he had fought someone who had incredible power and he got minor injuries. As Nefen heard Master Mufeng saying that it was just a minor injury, he got a little emotional. He yelled it wasn't just a minor injury. Nefen thought that Master Mufeng was a strong person and cultivator, even he was willing to get that wound. Nanan was also kidnapped by the demon earlier. The more Nefen thought about it, the more frightened he became. He thought that the cultivation realm was a dangerous place. Nefen, who was still staring at his guests, said that if Master Mufeng and the others got into such trouble, but they were still invincible. As expected of immortal cultivators, Nefen grabbed Master Mufeng's hand and praised him that he had worked hard. Seeing Nefen's gentle treatment, Master Mufeng was initially filled with questions, but he concluded it was whether Master Nefen really cared about him. In tears, Master Mufeng still thought that as Master Nefen's subordinate, it was his duty to give his all. However, Master Nefen was cared deeply about him and acknowledged his effort. He had no more words and was extremely happy. Believed to have been taken care of by the expert, Master Mufeng removed the ties wrapping his wound and threw away his wrapped hand. He shouted that he didn't need the hand anymore. He felt happy in his heart and his severed hand was worth it, as he got a great compliment from Master Nefen. Nefen asked Qing Yun the cause of Master Mufeng's hand being cut off and when it happened. Qing Yun said that it was just a few hours ago. Nifin thought if it hadn't been 24 hours, it was still possible to heal it by putting the hand back together. Master Mufing froze hearing those words because Master Nifin could help him to heal his hand. Nifin chuckled and said that he couldn't promise it, but he would try. Master Mufing felt so confused and dumb because he had thrown away his cut arm. Time passed by. Nifin now pulled out all of modern surgery equipment that came out of nowhere, along with his surgery gown. Master Mufing was seen lie down on the surgical table in the typical surgery clothes. Master Mufing asked whether Master Nifin was ready. As Nifin adjusted his gloves, he said that he was ready, of course. The sooner the better, as it would help speed up the healing as well. Nifin warned Master Mufing that it would hurt a little, thus Master Mufing must endure it. Master Mufing cockily said, even though he was weak, he had cultivated for 100 years. He could endure any pain. Hearing his words, Nifin mercilessly and immediately performed the surgery until the blood spurted everywhere, which caused Master Mufing to be extremely panicked. Didn't Nifin said it would just hurt a little? Nifin inwardly said that implant surgery was not complicated to reattach. The hard part was to connect nerves and blood vessels. In relief, Nifin said that he was so grateful for Master Mufing's wound, which was very clean, and he had cultivation as protection. Nifin held Master Mufing's hand and be ready. With a clean wound and cultivation protection, the difficult surgery would have a chance of succeeding. Using a scalpel, Nifin began his work, connecting the blood vessels, nerves, and suturing muscles. Not long after the surgery had done, Nifin told Master Mufing not to move his injured hand much and not to get water on them. He would slowly heal. Master Mufing was really surprised to see his hand had been reattached. Nifin even didn't use immortal power, just by using mortal's ability. King Yun seemed happy to see his dad's reattached hand. Master Mufing was truly happy because he could feel his hand again. But when he moved it, the pain shocked him until his eyes widened. Nifin instantly yelled at Master Mufing. Didn't he say before not to move his hand first though? Master Mufing was so happy to get his hand back. As Master Mufing, Shai Yu, and Qin saw Master Nifin cleaning up his hands and the surgery equipment, they said Nifin didn't use spiritual energy or any high-level medicinal plants, and he just utilized his mortal's ability to heal Master Mufing. With an amazed, frozen expression, they confirmed all was as expected of the expert. But inexplicably, King Yun now was turned into Qin. Qin said that she finally understood. Master Mufing and King Yun asked what did Qin understand. Qin continued she understood the reason behind Master Nifin, who preferred to live as a mortal. With enthusiasm, Qin said that Master Nifin wanted to show the world that the mortals could also do some things the immortals couldn't do. King Yun and Master Mufing enthusiastically heard and agreed. They thought Master Nifin was a wise man. Master Mufing approached Nifin and gave him the artifact bell left by the defeated fallen star demon. Nifin was very impressed receiving it. He thought it was a very beautiful bell. Of course, Nifin accepted it. He said that he would receive it as the cost of the operation he had performed to Master Mufing. Of course, Master Mufing didn't mind it. Nifin hung the bell on a place that seemed he used as a shrine. He also asked them if they had any suggestions for traveling, as he wanted to take Day out. They were silent for a while until Shai Yu spoke up that she and her dad would go to Valley of Green Cloud for the locking ceremony of Green Cloud Demon. She wondered whether Master Nifin was interested in it. Nifin didn't understand what the locking ceremony of Demon meant. Qin explained, once every 5 years, Valley of Green Cloud strengthened the seal on the Valley Gate for the demon world and sacrificed numerous demons as a commemorative ceremony. It was one of the biggest ceremonies in the immortal cultivator world. Again, Shai Yu and Master Mufing had a wild speculation on Nifin. Shai Yu said that she understood because Master Nifin had a plan to kill a fallen star demon. Perhaps he was interested in the god-locking ceremony. Killing the demons probably was Master Nifin's hobby. While they were serious about that, Master Nifin interrupted, asking, wasn't that the ceremony of the immortals? Could you was just an ordinary person attend it? Master Mufing confirmed it loudly. Of course, Master Nifin could attend, no need to worry. Master Mufing also explained that Valley of Green Cloud opened a place for the mortals to spread its power to the outside world. Nifin looked at Day and said, wasn't that sacrifice too horrible? He worried that Day might be scared. But suddenly, Day put on her enthusiasm face, saying that the ceremony might be interesting. Therefore, Nifin had decided to go with them since Day interested in the ceremony. Shayu also seemed enthusiastic to know that Nefin would be joining as Shayu offered to go together. Kin didn't want to be left out. She said that she would come too. Of course, Master Mufing wanted to go together as well, because he didn't want to miss the news about Master Nefin. But unfortunately, Nefin told Master Mufing that Master Mufing just got his arm back. Master Mufing shouldn't go and had enough rest. With tears of disappointment, Master Mufing undertook Nefin's command. The day had passed, and 3 days later, King Lu, Shayu, Qin, and the second elder of Lin Immortal Palace were seen. The bald elder had arrived in the entrance of Nefin's house. He said to himself that he was really grateful, because Master Lin was in the breakthrough stage into the god test stage, and the noble elder took care of the palace, hence they couldn't join. And he had defeated the third elders and the others, so he was the one invited to go. He felt truly blessed on this trip. King Lu asked them to do their best during the trip. Not long after, Master Nefin opened the door in the middle of the fight. Nefin wasn't allowing Blackie and Xiao Bai from joining the trip. They had to take care of the house. Nefin asked them to let his leg go. Nefin was surprised to see that apparently they had arrived. Shayu introduced the bald elder who would guide them during the trip. Nefin just realized that the bald elder was his driver. Nefin greeted the bald elder, and he greeted Nefin back with a very polite greeting. Nefin was surprised. He didn't understand why did the bald elder act very politely to him. Therefore, Nefin invited them to leave soon. Blackie looked gloomy and cried. Once again, Nefin ordered Blackie to look after the house. After Nefin and the others hopped on the flying boat, it seemed that all what Blackie did was just an acting. As he saw his master leaving, he made an inexplicable face. Blackie went back inside the house and shouted to everyone that Master Nefin had left. It was party time. A golden dragon emerged from the pool. Unit plants around showed their true form. They cheered together for a party. On the other side, the seed Master Xiao gave finally grew after being planted for 49 days. Back to Nefin and the others who was in the flying boat. Nefin was very amazed by the scenery. He said that the flying was even better than the airplane he rode in his past life. Kiden said to Nefin that they would move into the other flying boat. Nefin was a little surprised, asking, wasn't the current flying boat heading to Valley of Green Cloud? Kin told Master Nefin not to joke. The one they rode now was just an ordinary ferry of the flying boat. It wasn't suitable for Master Nefin. The other one was more appropriate for him. In front of them was a ship that was 10 times the size of the flying ferry they were currently on. Nefin enthusiastically said that it was incredible. King Lu and Shayu nodded. They inwardly said that it was the boat which was appropriate and suitable to use by an expert like Master Nefin. Nefin was still very excited. He never expected if it was how the cultivators travel. He really loved it. After a while, they had moved to the other boat. Nefin and Day were acting as if they were in Titanic film. They were at the tail end of the boat, with Nefin holding Day's waist and Day stretching out her arms. Apparently, there were lots of people travel using different types of transportation. There was one riding a bird and another riding a flying sword. Nefin was even more excited. He thought that the Immortals world was really cool. It would be great if he became Immortal Cultivator. Hearing Nefin's words, Day said to Nefin that Nefin wasn't an Immortal Cultivator, but beyond it. Nefin didn't seem really like being called like that. He asked whether it was Blackie who taught it to Day. Day was too much for that. The bald elder suddenly came to greet Nefin. He said that the trip to Valley of Green Cloud was still a long way. Did Nefin want to go to his room and have some rest? Nefin casually replied, how about the bald elder? The floor was cold and the bald elder could catch a fever if he slept on it. By looking at the ship's controller, the bald elder said, if he left, then who would fly the boat? He needed to bring in the spiritual energy to the circle to get the boat moving. Besides, he also must pay attention to the fire star tide. If the fire star tide came, he had to use other methods. Of course, Nefin didn't understand what the fire star tide was. The bald elder explained the tide of fire stars came every night, and if it touched it, no matter how big the flying boat was, it would all be swallowed up. Worriedly, Nefin said he understood. He hoped the gods would bless their journey all the way to their destination. Nefin also gave the bald elder a peer. Nefin hoped the bald elder accepted it. The bald elder was surprised. He screamed internally. It was that opportunity Kin was always talking about, an opportunity given by Master Nefin. The bald elder was thinking hard. He recalled Kin's words that whenever they were around Master Niffin, their mentality would be tested, not anything else. He could get an opportunity at any time as long as he remained calm. Initially, the bald elder wanted to find a way to satisfy Master Niffin. He didn't think the opportunity would come so quickly. Determined, he accepted the fruit with great courtesy and even bowed. He was grateful for the blessing given to him. Niffin said goodbye and went inside to take a rest. The bald elder couldn't believe his eyes. He finally could get a present from Master Niffin. The beard he had on his hands wasn't an ordinary pear. Like finding a real treasure, he lifted the pear and looked at it. He happily said the pear was very nice. He took a bite and felt an incredible sensation as if his chubby body turned into the sculpted one. He couldn't believe if it was a real pear. Why did the flavor taste very good? Meanwhile, inside the boat, King Lu and the others sensed a great force, and they smelled something familiar. Soon they went out finding the source of the smell. Apparently, the smell came from the bald elder. King Lu called out the bald elder, who was relaxing at the ship deck, who was holding the remaining pear fruit. Smiling, the bald elder turned his head. They all were envious as they saw his smile. They said they had known about it. Approaching the bald elder, they saw the pear left over the bald elder ate. They looked carefully and were convinced that it was the pear that Master Niffin had given them. The bald elder cockily said he didn't want to show off. He thanked Master Niffin. He got an opportunity to taste the very precious pear. Of course, it made King Lu and others upset. Why didn't the bald elder share but finish it by himself instead? But suddenly, they felt an evil energy approaching. King Lu was shocked and wondered what was going on. The bald elder turned serious and said that they shouldn't talk about the pear anymore because they currently had a more urgent problem, which was the fire